You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
This is East Carolina Hall of Famer and Utah Jazz first-round draft pick Blue Edwards. You're listening to Pirate Basketball Overtime on The Sports Objective, your home for the best East Carolina hoops coverage.
Put your crossbones up and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Come on. Yeah. Welcome to the island, man. It's crazy in here. A whole sea of purple and gold waving in here. Keep a plank on the shark tank, traders beware, because we got a whole bunch of rowdy sailors in here. Armed and ready, bang the lane, be aware, because if the backboard break, glasses spray everywhere. We'll lighten up the scoreboard, you can with a flare, but we put it out quick.
Welcome into Pirate Basketball Overtime right here on TSO. Pirates get a big victory, 77-57 over Presbyterian. In fact, the second game in a row where they had a big deficit. This time, 19 points down, and they come back to win it by 20, 77-57. So what was that? 39 points, 20-point swing, rather. So you have the 19 down and the 20. They were up 39 points. Yeah, I was right. Bubba Rosenbaum, the man, the numbers man. I'll let him handle that. How are you, man? I'm tired.
Oh, yeah. Doing well, Dave. And what a ugly first half. Mike Schwartz was kind of laughing about it in the post game. One of the very first things, maybe the first thing that he said at the post game press conference. I don't remember who asked the question, but he said, I assure you that these 16, in this case 19-point first half deficit, these large deficits are not by design, and kind of chuckled. But hats off. As bad as the Pirates looked, and for full disclosure, if you were unable to watch Saturday's game, the Pirates were without their leading scorer from Game 1, Brandon Johnson, who scored 24 points. So that was certainly something to take into consideration. But even so, the Pirates, moving forward, can ill afford to do what they did, falling behind 23-4 the Presbyterian. But to their credit, they began to chip away. They got it to 32-26 there at halftime. And then with just under 14 minutes to go in the game, we still trailed by 7. So PC had actually tacked on 1 point to their lead there. But over the last 13:57, Dave, we outscored Blue Hose 39-12 for that 77-57 win. And the two major catalysts in that 39-12 run were Javon Small, who scored all 16 of his points in the second half, and RJ Felton, who scored 20 of his 23 points in the second half. And going back to the first half, when the Pirates were down 23-4 and in desperate need of a spark, and who provided it, I was not surprised. Kalib LaCount.
He is incredible.
5'7" or 5'8" freshman point guard out of LA. Man, is he fun to watch. He scored 16 points in the game, and 13 of those 16 came in the first half, in that second part of the first half when the Pirates desperately needed it after trailing by 9.
It's crazy. And he has been a real spark plug. And I know the height has been, people talked about it, but the kid can shoot. Glad we have him. And hey, the Mike Schwartz era so far, undefeated 2-0. And you get by, obviously, Presbyterian there. You pull that one out. And then, Bubba, we've got a big one, obviously, coming up on Wednesday. You got at Hampton. So we need everybody to come out to Williams Arena-Minges Coliseum. And that's Hampton at 7 o'clock. And so I want everybody to come out on Wednesday night. And then we'll have next week is what I'm looking forward to. I don't want to overlook, because Hampton, you don't want to overlook a team. But the Gulf Coast Showcase, Bubba, is next week.
Yep, and we'll talk more about that upcoming schedule here shortly, and as well as taking a quick look at the Hampton Pirates, as we'll have Pirate battle Wednesday night at Minges Coliseum, as you said, 7 o'clock. in a game that will be available on the ESPN Plus platform. But going back to that Presbyterian game, we talked about Felton, we talked about Small, we talked about LaCount, and in the absence of Brandon Johnson, that's one of the things that made that comeback so impressive. R.J. Felton, I noted his 20 points in the second half. How about him for the game, knocking down 4 threes? So I think to see R.J. Felton put up a career high 23 points, and then I'm pretty sure, I feel safe in saying that 4 3-pointers made is also a career high for RJ as a Pirate. So it was great to see us do the things that we need to do to win a game that we should. Let's be honest, we should certainly win. Presbyterian was coming in off I think it was maybe 11-point loss to the Citadel, and looking at the game, I mean, early on, very much like that first game against Mercer when we dug the 16-point hole. It was, I mean, Coach Schwartz mentioned this in the post game. The defense was not awful. I mean, could it have been better? Yes, but it was largely Presbyterian, much like Mercer, knocking down some tough shots and doing some nice things offensively. But it was, offensively, we were totally out of sync. We were turning the ball over. I think in the first 7 minutes of the game, I kept making note of this. I think we had something like 6 or 7 field goal attempts in 7 or 8 minutes, and 8 turnovers, and also 8 personal fouls caught against us. So I think both teams were in the double bonus for like the last 10 minutes of the first half.
That is nuts, but certainly the great thing is you get a win, and again you have a few days to get your legs rested, and there's going to be a good. The good thing about this team so far is they get the confidence, and we win without Brandon Johnson. Who, what do you have, Bubba? 24 against Mercer.
Yeah, Brandon had 24 against Mercer, and for our viewers, take a look at the Pirates box score from the game against Presbyterian. We talked about R.J. Felton. We talked about Small. We've also talked about the game that Kalib LaCount had. Those 16 points, he was 5 out of 8 from the floor, 2 or 3 from beyond the arc, 4 or 5 from the line. He also pulled down 4 rebounds. So 16 and 4 for the talented freshman from L.A. And we've seen it now. I think he had, 6 in the first game. So Kalib LaCount is averaging 11 points through his first 2 games in the purple and gold. Valentino Pinedo, after not having played against Mercer, he played 7.5 minutes, and he did not make a field goal, but he in those 7.5 minutes, he was able to get at the free throw line 6 times, converted 4 of them. He also pulled down a couple of rebounds. So solid performance in limited action for Valentino. And looking through very quickly, you used 8 players basically that played 13 minutes or more. Luigi DeBow had just shy of 13 minutes. RJ played 33.5. Quentin DeBouge got the start, played nearly 24.5 minutes. Javon played just shy of 30. Jaden Walker played 15. And Ezra Asar, after playing sparingly in that game against Mercer, he played 21.5 minutes. Did some nice things. He had 6 points and also pulled down a couple of boards. 4 of those 6 points came from the charity stripe. Benjamin Baella, the JUCO transfer. Benjamin had 25 points. And you also had David Consanganai, the walk-on out of Charlotte, who transferred in from Navy prior to last season. He did play here and there a little bit under Joe Dooley in that regime, but David played 5.5 minutes, and then Saxby Sunderland, and also Jackson Ellingsworth on the walk-on from Eastern North Carolina, who really lit it up in that East-West All-Star game over in Greensboro this summer, and had 29 points, I think, and also pulled down 10 or more rebounds, if I'm not mistaken. So it was interesting to see him get some little action there. And so for the game, team stats, the Pirates, after shooting just 7 out of 28 in the first half, shot a scorching 16 of 27 after halftime to finish the game 23 of 55, 41.8%, 9 out of 14 from 3 in the second half to finish the game 11 out of 28, 39.3. And then for the game, the Pirates shot free throws very well, 20 out of 27. So a significant improvement there from that Mercer game when they were unable to make free throws down the stretch. Obviously, this game you did not need those free throws as you did in that Mercer game, but still great to see the Pirates go 20 for 27, 74.1% from the line. There at the bottom of the screen, you see it was pretty much even as far as what the teams were able to get off the others' turnovers. I believe both teams had 16 turnovers, so definitely a number the Pirates want to see decrease moving forward there. Presbyterian actually outscored East Carolina 26-20 in the paint. That's something else that's an area of concern, especially as you play the better teams on your schedule moving forward. You have a game against South Carolina coming up, and I know South Carolina's in a bit of a rebuilding situation, But as you progress toward the American, I do have some serious concerns about how we're going to be able to hold up on the interior. Fast break points, the Pirates had a 16-11 edge, and not surprisingly, the bench for the Pirates was able to outscore the Presbyterian bench 29-9. So there you have some of the numbers from the 77-57 win over Presbyterian.
Yeah, how about the 51 spot in the second half? The down 6 at halftime, and overall that swing you talked about is just amazing. But great stuff. Hey, by the way, Bubba, if you didn't know, I just checked for those that want to. They're like you and me. You and I will have to discuss this off air. But for those wondering about the Gulf Coast Showcase, yes, it is televised, but it's on Flow Hoops, and you have to pay a total of $29.99 a month, or it's $210 a year. So I'm going to get it because I want to watch my Pirates play. I don't know if Bubba, if you will, but certainly I'm hoping I get my money's worth for that. No, seriously, I will be a Pirate, obviously, regardless. But I was just curious about if you know people that are going to do that.
Yeah, and that's something, that's what I would have guessed based on history as far as that being televised on Flow Sports. I'm sure I probably will. And make sure I make a note to I'll look and see. Would you say $10.99 a month?
No, $29.99. It's $30.
Oh, $30. So I'd imagine what I may do, depending on, I'd probably, because obviously my dad will want to watch it, so we'll probably split it and watch it at his house.
Yeah, that's what it's going to say. It's a shame you and I are not. You know what you and I would do if we lived closer is a lot of stuff like that. We would we're both cheapskates, but we would do that. And
I don't consider that that's just smart.
No. I know. I'm being silly. But anyway, that tournament is going to be fantastic with a number of great teams. We'll play Indiana State. I know that's coming up in the men's bracket. But anyway, if you're curious about that, we won't waste any time. It's Gulf Coast Showcase.com. We'll try to see if we can get someone on maybe next week for that. But first things first, the Pirates will have off, and then we play on Wednesday night next week against Hampton, and at 7:00. Get your tickets, by the way. Call our good friends at the ticket office, Coleman Spain man, he does a great job. And Bubba, he's a Pirate. He wants us to be packing Williams Arena, obviously at Minges Coliseum, and Dowdy Ficklin as well. And by the way, tickets are on sale. Obviously, single game tickets. You get your, I think I'll have to double check if you get your season tickets still. But speaking of season tickets, Bubba, again, I want to remind fans. I know that we're talking about Pirate basketball on Pirate Basketball Overtime, but if you want baseball tickets, I'll just put it this to you, wait to you guys. If you want baseball tickets, be ready for Thanksgiving weekend. Okay, that's all I'm going to say right now. But be sure to do that. And Bubba, I know that you have notes on Hampton, so we want to look at that upcoming, as we just gave you the recap of the last game against Presbyterian, and now I'm going to pitch it to you for those notes on Hampton.
Yeah, taking a look very quickly at the Hampton Pirates. This is the program. You know, when you think of Hampton, obviously you think of them, being an HBCU, and then having been in the MEAC, but now they're in the CAA. So I think they had a brief stay in the Big South. Now they've moved on to the CAA. So they're going to be taking some lumps this year. Obviously, James Madison, who they've already played, has moved on to the Sun Belt. But James Madison beat them very handily. I think it was 48 points. So this is a game that we have to take care of our business, get to 3-0, and not lose any of that momentum. Headed down into the Florida Gulf Coast Showcase, a shootout, as Dave was mentioning. As far as Hampton and some of their top players, Marquise Godwin, 12 points is what he had against JMU in that game that was won by the Dukes, 106-58. Godwin, he is a 6'5" senior, and that's a common theme with this team. They seem to often use a 4-guard lineup. A lot of guys that are 6'5" or 6'6", and some versatility there. But it will be interesting to see if we can exploit them a bit on the inside, be it with Luigi or Valentino or maybe Ezra. So that is something to keep an eye on going into this game. Godwin, he is I'd say excellent, at least an average to maybe slightly above average 3-point shooter. However, Russell Dean, who's also a 6'5" senior guard, he doesn't shoot it very well from 3, but this year he's averaging 10 points a game, I believe. In the last 2 seasons, he had averaged 15 a game as a junior, and then as a sophomore had averaged a little over 11 points a game, and also averaging between 4 and 4.5 rebounds. So Russell Dean is someone also to keep an eye on as you follow Wednesday night's game. And then Raymond Bethea Jr., he also is playing a significant number of minutes for the Hampton Pirates, who do utilize, as I said, that 4-guard lineup. Dave, you're on mute.
Thank you, Bubba. Get your tickets at ECUPirates.com, 1-800-DIAL-ECU, as the game that'll be Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And we want to make sure everybody gets out there. And then next week at Florida Gulf Coast, we'll be playing the Gulf Coast Showcase. Should be a lot of fun at Hertz Arena there. And how do you pronounce that? Is that Estero, Florida? How do you pronounce that, Bubba? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I'd have to look at it. And then...
It's Estero. Estero is what I was thinking, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, that sounds right. Estero. But I'm not 100% on that either.
Yeah, but again, we want to pay attention to Hampton. And wouldn't that be great to be 3-0 going into the Gulf Coast Showcase coming up next week, and you have 3 games next week. So it'll be great to see how we do in a preseason tournament. First time with Coach Schwartz being at the helm. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm looking forward to it. I am really excited about it. And I tell you what, I want everybody to go out there. And then we need to pack Williams Arena on Wednesday night. And then on Saturday, again, we could pack that football stadium. Would be tremendous. But Bubba, I'm really happy so far. I know that we've had the comebacks, 2 comebacks, and we can't do that forever. But we could be 0-2 right now. So very happy to be 2-0. And I know that you have some scores from around the American, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, obviously the Pirates and Presbyterian, that was from a couple days ago on Saturday afternoon. But as we're live here on Monday night, 3 games took place in the American tonight. You had number 3 Houston defeating Oral Roberts, who normally has a very good team. Not sure how they're supposed to be this year, but Houston did not struggle at all with ORU, defeating them 83-45 in the Cougar Classic. You had UCF. They defeated Western Illinois 70-37. So the Knights, after losing that double overtime thriller to UNC Asheville in their opener, they have bounced back with consecutive wins. Again, over Western Illinois tonight, and then over the weekend, they picked up a 14-point win over Florida State, which was excellent for the league. And just out of, if Pirate fans are curious, Brandon Suggs so far in 3 games with UCF, he is averaging 10 points and 5 rebounds. And tonight against Western Illinois, had 8 points and 6 rebounds.
Yeah, that's to be expected, right?
Yeah, certainly expected Brandon to do well, and as long as the Pirates are successful against him, I want Brandon to do well. He gave his all for the purple and gold, and I think under the circumstances, it was understandable that he left. And then the other game within the American that took place tonight, you had the Stetson Hatters 68, South Florida 67, and that game was played in Tampa.
Man, that's
and
tough.
Then some other games over the weekend. Cincinnati defeated Eastern Kentucky 87-69. That was on Sunday afternoon. On Saturday, in addition to the Pirates defeating Presbyterian, you had Tulsa defeat Jackson State 85-79. And this one, listen to this one, Dave. You had Alcorn State 66 and Wichita State 57.
Whoa. I missed that score. Wow. I would have never guessed that in a million years. But, it's funny. People talking about the Louisville loss last week and all that. This is what's fun about preseason, the early part, non-conference. You just never know what team you're going to get, and things happen, I mean, so I don't put a lot of stock in. I don't know about you, Bob. I'm giddy to have college basketball back, but I don't put a lot of stock in. If it's multiple games, yes, but to have one, it's early on in the year. You don't want it to happen to your team, but it happens, and it's like life. How do you pick up the pieces?
And yeah, no doubt. And going back to Friday's action, I mentioned the win that UCF had 68-54 over the Seminoles. You had Auburn, number 15 Auburn, taking down South Florida 67-59. SMU lost by 12 at number 24 Dayton. Temple, after being upset by Wagner, Temple bounced back with a huge win over number 16 Villanova and rushed the court after that win in that crosstown rivalry there in Philly. And then you had Houston that won 81-55 over St. Joe's in the Veterans Classic.
Yeah, man. Coach Sampson's got another great team, don't he, Bubba? I mean, they should be Final 8, Final 4 again. So Houston's once again with Coach Sampson's job he's done there at Houston. A great team, and don't be surprised to see them represent one more time the American in the Final Four. Definitely Elite 8 team, but man, they could easily, I could see them playing for a national championship, and he's got that program rolling down in Houston. Looking forward to playing them for sure. Bubba, do you have anything before we get out of here?
No, just get out to Minges. We need everyone that's right there in the Greenville area, and take a friend with you. And the attendance wasn't as good in game 2 after having 4,600 plus for Coach Schwartz's first game against Mercer. We had something like 3,700, between 37 and 3,750, I want to say, for that game against Presbyterian. So get out there Wednesday night, and Wednesday night can be a tough draw at times. Folks have church going on and different things right there in the middle of the week. So, if nothing else, hopefully we'll have at least as many as we did for Presbyterian. But get out there and support this ball club and help them get to 3-0.
That'll be great. Again, going up, not to look ahead to the Gulf Coast Showcase. I'll say it one more time. Great to be 3-0. And then, with those preseason tournaments, anything can happen. Bubba, thanks for your hard work, man. I appreciate you so much for all the work, for all the shows we have here on the Sports Objective. This, of course, we'll have the Pirate Basketball Overtime. We'll have that again Wednesday night and after the game. So make sure you tune in and all our programming. Don't forget to like our Facebook page. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That YouTube channel is exploding thanks to you and telling your friends. All right, for Bubba Rosenbaum, you've been watching the Pirate Basketball Overtime, and it's right here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody, and as always, go Pirates.
Put your crossbones up and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Yeah, and lean side to side. Come on, yeah. Welcome to the island, man, it's crazy in here. A whole sea of purple and gold waving in here. Keep a plank on the shark tank, traders beware, because we got a whole bunch of rowdy sailors in here.
You're watching the Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates. Like and follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate you listening to the show, and go Pirates!